All right, what's going on, everyone? We got a weekly Shonen Jump tier list. I figured now that we're going into the new year, today's New Year's Eve, I think it's only appropriate that we rank all of the manga currently in Jump, come up with the tier list, and then that way we can have some kind of idea of what might get cut and what might stay for the rest of the year. And also, since the only two big titles right now are One Piece and Kagurabachi, it kind of feels like, there's room for like a new My Hero or a new Jujutsu Kaisen or a new Black Clover, right? Whatever. And there's a lot of like, there's a lot of like everything kind of in the same tier. Nobody really breaking above, but nobody really falling behind. So I want to do this tier list and see if we can't kind of separate the boys from the men, if you will. Excuse me. Sorry for starting the stream a couple minutes late, by the way. I went to go set up, and I needed a bit of a pick-me-up, and also needed to warm up the vocal cords, if you will. So I made a nice cup of tea, drinking some Irish breakfast tea at 2 in the afternoon. But you know what? It's never too late for a nice cup of tea. How's everyone doing today? Happy New Year's Eve, or if you're in certain parts of the world, Happy New Year's. What's everyone's New Year's resolutions? My New Year's resolution is to get absolutely yoked. I'm trying to get absolutely shredded. I'm trying to have that V jump waist. I'm trying to have that, I'm trying to think of more V puns that I can make, but that's really the only one that comes to mind. I'm trying to have that, that All Might physique. We got Justin. How you doing, Justin? We got Iron Nancy. Oh my God, Iron Nancy, how you doing, man? Happy New Year's, man. How you doing? Glad to see you. Iron Nancy, I'm kind of curious. Have you read Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi yet? I'm really curious to see what your thoughts are on that manga. Let's see who we got. We got Luke. What's going on, Luke? Happy New Year's. We got Alves. Happy New Year's. We got Zolalavivi. Heyo. We got Justin in the chat. Happy New Year's, Justin. We got Criminal. What's going on? Just Cookie Head. What's good? Dondadon is top tier. Dondadon is top tier. However, Dondadon is not Weekly Shonen Jump. Despite what Twitter, I guess, or Instagram might tell you, Dondadon is Jump Plus, not Weekly Shonen Jump. And they only make it confusing when they put it on that Shonen Jump page on the website. But it is not in the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. And since we're on the point, I'll just make it clear. Zilvi is how it's pronounced. Okay, well, Zilvi, Happy New Year's. We are only covering manga that are currently running in the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. So anything that's on V Jump or Jump Plus or Jump SQ, we're not talking about that today. Maybe at a later point, we'll do like a massive 2 or 3 hour, Shueisha stream where we just rank everything that's currently running in the Shueisha title IP. But today is just Weekly Shonen Jump. But who else we got in the chat? Luke said, since Undead Unluck and Mission Yosakura ending, we need new series. Yes. We're not getting a new JJK or MHA till 2050. Those were generational giants. Well, Gege and Horikoshi, I'm pretty sure both of them said they're going to do new manga. And I would imagine they would both come back to Jump. Maybe not Weekly Shonen Jump, maybe Jump Plus. Dandadan isn't Weekly Shonen Jump. Nope, it is Jump Plus. It came out in 2018, I believe. 2019, I believe. That is on the Jump Plus app in Japan, and it's on the Jump Plus whatever Manga Plus app here. In other words, when that Weekly Shonen Jump magazine comes out on, Sundays in Japan, you cannot read Dandadan in that magazine. It is only in Jump Plus, and then you can buy the physical volumes. Iron Nancy said, I'm doing good, and I read, I think, 2 or 3 chapters of Kyoshi. I thought it was good, but I fell off of it. I want to get back on it, though. It feels very... So it's funny you say that. I don't know if you're aware, but the author, the mangaka who makes Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi, and we can talk about this more, his name is Usui. He was apparently... They came out and announced this a couple weeks ago, I think. He was an assistant to Oda on One Piece. So if you read it and you're like, man, this looks and feels a lot like One Piece, it's because Usui was, in fact, an assistant on One Piece. Let me get some tea real quick. Been using my speaking voice a lot these last couple of days. What was I going to say? But glad to hear you're doing good, man. Pleasure to hear from you. Akane Banashi is A tier right off the bat. You know, I don't disagree with that. All right, so I'm going to make my tier list. And granted, I haven't read all of these series, and I'm not caught up on all of these series. I'm caught up on at least 50. Well, I'll put it this way. I've read at least half of them. So this is where viewer participation is going to go a long way. We'll start the stream salty, right? Because why spread positivity? The anime community is already too positive. It's not toxic enough. Blue Box in D tier. It is so ass. I hate Blue Box so much. It is such a waste of time. I read Blue Box and I liked maybe the first 30 chapters or so. I was like, oh, this is good enough, I guess. And it's just like such a nothing burger. It like almost insults your intelligence, completely wastes your time, just like eggs you along. Like there's no progression, I feel like. I don't like the main character. I think the main character is like the biggest non-protagonist, I guess. Like I feel like he just kind of like goes with the flow. He doesn't like make any of his own. He's like I know it's not shoujo, but he's like the shoujo version of Kazuma from Rent-a-Girlfriend. Like I feel like he doesn't really make any of his own decisions. He just kind of like does stuff. And he's like, wow, I hope she likes me, or wow, I wish I had a girlfriend. Like it's so dumb, right? And I'm sure I sound like a meathead saying this, but I mean, go read Sign of Affection, right? There's not a single character like that in Sign of Affection. Go read Komi-san, right? Tadano, right? He can be a passive character, but he can also be very bold and do bold things, and he actually influences the other characters, and he's, you know, a charismatic character. None of those qualities I just listed can be attributed to the main character of Blue Box. And also, I don't like the romantic interest. I don't like the romantic the romantic interest of Blue Box. I think she's like a wish-washy character that knows what she wants sometimes and like doesn't the other times, and it's like it's just, I feel like the entire manga is designed to waste your time and to get your hopes up. That being said, I really like the girl with her hair up that plays, what is it, tennis? It's either tennis or badminton, whatever it is. I know it's not basketball. Bond says, I've been with you since 3K. Great to see your channel grow. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And Happy New Year's. Just made my day. Thank you. Man, we're having a great stream today, and we're only 10 minutes in. But yeah, we're 10 minutes in, so that's all I have to say about Blue Box. It's booty butt cheeks, and I will never read it again. All right, let's set a middle. I am going to put Nue's Exorcist B tier and high B tier, only because I've only read the first chapter. I did like the first chapter, but it didn't leave a strong impression on me. I have a suspicion that if I go back and read it, that I might like it better. But I've heard from everyone online that, I mean, obviously it's what, 100 chapters in now, and it's still going strong, or you know, it's still in Jump, right? And I've heard from people who are, you know, following the series weekly that it's still pretty good 100 chapters in. So based on that, and based off of the fact that I actually kind of liked the first chapter, I'll put it in high B tier. I think Nue's Exorcist will be our like dead middle. I agree for Nue's Exorcist is basically a modern day Bleach. The difference, the main character's sister is a main part of his team. Yeah, that was kind of the vibe I got. And I remember you saying that when it was just a few chapters in. Or I remember you saying that at some point a while ago. All right, so here's the deal. I am going to knock out the manga I have not read in no particular order, and I will let all of you beautiful intellectuals give me your recommendations. So Himiten, Kill Blue, Hakutaku, Sidcraft, although I heard Sidcraft was pretty interesting for chapter 1. Super Psychic Policeman, I have not checked out yet, but the art style looks pretty good. Shinobi Undercover, I've not read yet. Okay, so besides Blue Box, which is booty butt cheeks, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 manga I have not read yet. So everything else I have at least read a few chapters of. As a matter of fact, for the remainder of these manga, I've read at least half of them. So I may not be caught up, but I do have a pretty good ground to stand on when I talk about these manga. I would say Psychic Cops should be in C for the art style alone. What is it, like 40 chapters in right now? Let's see. It is, if I can find it. I was literally just going through these and now I can't find it. That's hilarious. Here it is. Chapter 44, yeah. Hakutaku should get its own tier for how bad it is? Really? That's interesting, because I had a bunch of people on YouTube. I can't remember what it was for. I had a bunch of people recommend it because they thought it was good. And they're like, oh, they like make video games. Kill Blue is B tier. Really great characters, interesting battles, and a pretty awesome villain with a very different motive compared to other shonen villains. Okay. So I'll put it in B tier. I'll put it like under Chue's Exorcist. Excuse me. I'll put Chojo in C tier. We'll put it like high C tier. Because the art style looks really good, but I haven't really heard anyone say anything, you know, phenomenal about the manga. I haven't heard anything bad, but I haven't really heard anything at all about Chojo since its debut. Excuse me. Blue Box A tier? Yeah, absolutely not. Sorry, Justin. I will support your bears, but I will not support Blue Box. I will fight you. I'll put it this way. I would rather have the Patriots never win a single game of football again than have to read another chapter of Blue Box. That's how much I hate Blue Box. I think Shinobi should go C just because of the team behind it being a somewhat highly requested return. And from what I've heard, it's slightly improving over... Yeah, Candy Flurry. Oh my god. Yeah, Candy Flurry was an interesting one. I wasn't really crazy about Candy Flurry. I didn't think it was bad, but I thought it had a really slow start. And I remember reading it just like, okay, where is this going? But yeah, that seems fair. What did we say? Shinobi? Okay. So Shinobi Undercover will put... Oh, is that the same team that made Candy Flurry? I have no idea. Let me see. Shinobi Undercover would be... Is it going to tell me? Ippon, Tageguchi, and Santa Mitarashi. Not ringing a bell. All right. So, I think One Piece will make our way through. Nick Nitro. Best Shonen Jump manga is obviously Dragon Ball. Source, trust me, bro. That's pretty fair. You're a Patriots fan? Lol, this man could do that. Oh, dude, have we not talked about this? That's crazy. We've talked about how much we like Destiny, and we never talked about how we're both Patriots fans. Dude, I'm gonna message you after the stream because I'm gonna have to pick your brain about that. But I don't want to necessarily advertise where you're from because I'm from New England, so obviously, like, that's my city, right? Like, that's my team. So they could be 3-20, and I'd still be like, that's the best team. Where would I place Ruri Dragon? Ruri Dragon, I would either place high B tier or low A tier because it's really good. I like the art. I like the characters. The only thing is it's only got, what, like 7 chapters? So it's too early for it to have really, like, wowed me. Never caught you live before. May I say that your channel is fantastic work material when I'm making music or drawing. Well, thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. And Happy New Year's. Yeah, the only reason I don't place Ruri Dragon in here is, like, I just don't know what we're really going to get. It's the same reason I should technically put Hunter x Hunter in this tier list, but it's just so irregular that, you know, it's not, I can't, like, in my heart of hearts consider it like part of the Weekly Shonen Jump lineup, because it kind of just comes and goes. Ruby Dragon has 25 chapters? What? I thought it only had like 7. Well, now I feel like a jackass. I'll have to read that tonight. That's crazy. I thought it only had like 7 chapters. I knew it came back at one point. I didn't realize it had... What does that make it? 2 volumes? 3 volumes at this point? Excuse me. I miss Brady and Rob. Dude, don't forget, we had Amendola. We had Edelman. Who else did we have? I'm trying to think. Dude, you know who I miss more than anybody else? Is Vince Wilfork. That dude was a tank. I will never forget watching the game where he picked up a fumble and he ran like a, I think it was like a 60-yard touchdown. Ouji slept through the hiatus. Well, the hiatus and like the return happened when I kind of like fell off of Jump, or like just manga in general. I had like a 6-month span where like I was just so out of it, I guess. You know, it was one of those moments, hashtag life happened, and I wasn't really reading all my favorite manga or keeping up with my favorite anime. So like it's only that's why it's like just now that I'm like kind of caught back up, because I wasn't reading everything for a long time. But back to our tier list. So One Piece is a pretty easy S tier. Egghead was awesome, and Elbaf is already off to a great start. I would even argue that the start of Elbaf is better than the start of Egghead, and honestly better than Act 1 of Wano. It has all the potential to be the best arc in One Piece post time skip, and one of the best arcs in One Piece of all time, easily. So I think One Piece is a pretty indisputable S tier for 2025. And on that note, let me just be clear. When we're ranking things, this is a mix of like how we feel about these manga right now, and also how we feel about the next year for these manga. So for example, let's talk about Undead Unluck. Undead Unluck, I'm going to put in S tier, but that's going to be like a mid to low S tier. And the reason I say that is because I'm caught up on Undead Unluck. I think it has a really solid final arc. First of all, I love Undead Unluck. I love the whole manga. Obviously, it does have a few points where there's some pacing issues, but it's one of my favorite manga to come out of Jump in the last, what is it, like 5 years. The reason I would place it in like lower S tier is because it's ending, obviously. So like if I'm talking about stuff we can look forward to in 2025, it's only got like maybe 5 chapters left. And also it has that movie coming out. I have not seen I only saw the first few episodes of season 1 of the anime. I need to go back and watch it. But if we're talking about like, you know, reasons to get excited about Undead Unluck, maybe the movie might be pretty good, but I don't really see Undead Unluck, you know, blowing up or anything like that. So compared to like all this other S tier stuff that we're going to talk about, it's like mid to low S tier. Still S tier, but not exactly in the same echelon, so to speak, as One Piece. What's going on, Paul? Happy New Year. The Asa fight in Mission Yozakura family was pretty metal. Love that. Literally took everything to take him down. Really? Okay, so we have Josh Copeland. Pardon me if I just said that wrong. Josh says Chojo is one of your top choices. Josh, we have Chojo in C tier. Do you want to make a case for maybe putting it in B tier? Because so far I've heard from everybody that it's slightly unremarkable. Ragnarok Arc would be the best chance to blow up, but I've always said Undead Unluck doesn't have mainstream appeal. Is Gotchi not shonen? If you're talking about Gotchi Akuta, no, it is not Weekly Shonen Jump. That is Weekly Shonen Sunday. Somebody brought it up, so let's talk about Elusive Samurai. Elusive Samurai I'm going to put in A tier. I'll work it out as we finish up the tier list. So I'm behind on Elusive Samurai. I stopped reading it maybe a year ago. But Elusive Samurai is really, really good for a really long time. And then I feel like maybe... So what chapter is it on right now? It's on chapter 185. So maybe around chapter 100, maybe 120, I feel like it starts to fall off a bit and get somewhat repetitive. Not bad, but I feel like roughly halfway-ish into the manga, it just kind of falls into a rut of like, okay, this is dragging out a bit. Still good, but one, I'm not caught up on it, and two, I feel like it kind of hits a plateau. I will say though, I did not watch it. I've been meaning to watch it, but I saw clips of the Elusive Samurai anime, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. I heard and saw that there were some very weird kinds of fans for Elusive Samurai. I'm sure you can look it up and find that out for yourself. But all in all, I think Elusive Samurai is one of those manga where like it's really good. It just has a hard time breaking into like that top tier of Jump. Let's talk about Yozakura family while Luke is still here. I would put Mission Yozakura family in S tier, right below Undead Unluck. Now granted, I am very behind on Mission Yozakura family, but some highlights for Mission Yozakura family. First of all, courtesy of Mr. Lasher Luke himself, I have only heard good things while I have not been reading it, so I can take his word on that. But what I have read of Mission Yozakura family is amazing. First of all, if you haven't read Mission Yozakura family, check it out. It's awesome. I am not crazy about the art style, but the art is generally good. Do I have a Discord? Besides my personal account, I don't have a Discord server. If that's something people are interested in, definitely mention that in comments, in chat, whatever. But I don't have any plans for a Discord at the moment. But if enough people request it, maybe I'll work one out. But back to Mission Yozakura family. First of all, I remember when Mission Yozakura family and Spy family had a bit of a rivalry, and I always said during that, while Spy family might have some advantages, what it never had over Mission Yozakura family was that feeling of family. The family in Mission Yozakura family feels real. It has characters that feel like they have bonds unlike any other manga. And also, it's got a nice mystery. So I feel like manga like Dr. Stone, Attack on Titan, One Piece, whatever, it's got a really nice mystery that unfolds over time. And then, obviously, it's got a bunch of really good fights. I forget what the arc is called, but the one arc where they go to the island to go stop their father, and he's got all of these, like, minions with him. And there's, like, the one girl, I think she's got, like, the fire punch arms or something. That arc was awesome. So, yeah. Mission Yozakura Family, low S tier. Have I checked out Elfen Lied? No, but I think my friend watched that and they thought it was pretty good. And I've heard it's supposed to be pretty good. Josh said, I keep reading... Hold on. Did you talk about shoujo? No, I don't think he mentioned shoujo. That's okay. I keep reading everything in the magazine, so I have a good reference or a good feeling about the lineup. Yeah, that's what I want to get back to, and I'm close to it. I'm like 40% of the way back. I was once, like 2 years ago, I was at a point where every Sunday, like, I read probably 90% of the stuff in Jump, and the only stuff I didn't read was the stuff I had checked out and just didn't like. And I was, you know, I'm not one of those people where I have to read everything. I'll give something a chance, but if I don't like it, I'm not going to read it just because I feel like I have to be up to date with it. The Yozakura Frontlines arc. Yeah, that arc is really good. Like, so good. Did that arc didn't get animated in the anime, did it? Excuse me. That is another anime that, unfortunately, I did not have a chance to check out yet. Was just telling Luke that I think its peak of A, the non-family cast, is simply non-existent. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I could see it at high A tier, but it's like the tip top of A tier for sure. Akane in A tier, we're going to get to that, don't worry. Would like to hear your opinions on Lord of the Rings after you slander in the past. I love Lord of the Rings. I have not read the books. I am purely going by the movies for that. And in the movies, they don't explain the magic system, so it's just Gandalf doing a bunch of random bullshit. I know it's supposed to be a lot more nuanced in the books, but you're not alone in calling me out for that. I had so many people being like, wow, so you haven't read the books without saying it. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't read the books. I just watched the movies. And in the movies, they don't explain shit. Gandalf just walks around casting spells like he's got unlimited mana. And he's like, hey, let's just, spawn a horse. But that's a rant for another stream. The lineup is coming off of the high of one of its strongest lineups ever, yes. So we're probably going to start going into an era where we get a lot of mediocre series until stuff blows up, like Bocce and Ichi. Yeah. So I'll talk more on that, but I do think I have a video coming out this month, so I won't spoil too much on that. But generally, I think the winter season of Jump is going to be sort of so-so. And for the most part this year, I think Weekly Shonen Jump is mostly going to be about One Piece and Kagurabachi. But I think by the end of the year, Ichi the Witch will be like a big face of Jump alongside Kagurabachi, and hopefully Kiyoshi will be in the same ballpark. Excuse me. All right, so I am going to piss some people off, but I'm putting Sakamoto Days not in S tier, but at the top of A tier. This is not done out of toxicity. This is not done out of hate or malice. I just feel like the plot of Sakamoto Days is its biggest flaw. Because I love the characters, I love the action, and I really like the comedy. But I feel like the plot doesn't really go anywhere, and it's kind of just like, eh. That being said, I still think it's A tier. And also, to be fair, this is another manga that I'm kind of behind on. Luke said he couldn't get into it. I feel like it's funny because, so one of the big complaints, so a lot of people who like Jujutsu Kaisen like Sakamoto Days, and one of the complaints, you often see for Jujutsu Kaisen is that it's like all action and all like hype moments and no substance. I would not go so far as to say that for Sakamoto Days, but I feel like that is part of the issue for me. I feel like it is heavily action focused, but there's like not a ton going on for the plot. And the plot is just basically like, okay, stop the bad guys, which is fine. But if we're talking about the difference between the good manga versus the great manga, it's okay. But I know I'm going to piss people off when I say that. And that's fine. That's what having an opinion means. All right, so I will offer my last hot take, and then it'll be chill vibes for the rest of the stream. Roboco is S tier. And I hope I get clipped. I hope I get slandered. Because any publicity is good publicity, excuse me. And Roboco deserves all the publicity. Because Roboco is one of my favorite manga in Weekly Shonen Jump. I love the art style. I love the characters. I think it is diabolically funny. The first chapter, it's been a while. I'm a bit behind on Roboco. The first chapter, the main character sees all his friends with robot maids. So he goes to his mom and says, "Hey, Mom, I forget what he says, but he says like, oh, I want a robot maid." And she's like, "Are you sure? I can't just give you like a brother or sister. Your father and I might have to go to the bedroom, but if that's what you really want." And I'm like, what the I'm like, did they just say that? It is wild. I'm out of my mind. Roboco is not S tier. Roboco is S tier. Roboco is triple S tier. It's S plus. It's Shonen OG tier. That is your that is the most passive aggressive way to say your opinion sucks. That is your choice, and if you like it, that's fine. I'm the same with Chojo, but the opposite with Roboco. That is, I appreciate that. Thank you. We might have to organize this tier list a bit. Roboco kind of just like a filler series to me when I'm not trying to read something so complex. Dude, I love Roboco. It's so funny. I should check out the anime. I know the episodes of the anime are only like 2 minutes or whatever, however they organize that. But I freaking love Roboco. It is one of the funniest manga I've ever read. All right, but now that I've pissed off the entire anime and manga community, let's go for some chill vibes for the rest of the stream. So Witch Watch, I would probably put high A tier above. Oh, see, that's tough because am I really gonna say Witch Watch? Am I really gonna say Roboco is better than Witch Watch? All right, I changed my mind. I'm going to put Witch Watch bottom of S tier, and I'm going to put Roboco tip top of A tier, only because I like Witch Watch more. If it wasn't for Witch Watch, you best know it would be an S tier. But Witch Watch is really good. The reason I don't place it higher in S tier is because I'm not crazy about all of those chapters where it's like the teacher and the girl who really likes making manga. I feel like that gag ran out its course a really long time ago. I don't like that storyline. I don't hate it, but I just whatever. Besides that, it's kind of like Gintama, where some of the running gags are really, really good, and then some of the running gags are just like, oh, we're doing this again. Which, you know, is reasonable. When you're writing a comedy, not everything is going to be, you know, sometimes you're going to swing, sometimes you're going to hit it, and sometimes it's going to be a big fat miss. And that's just kind of the story with the running gags. Ouji, that duo is one of the best parts of Witch Watch. Oh, true. The character chemistry in general in Witch Watch is impossibly good. It's so good. Also, I love the art style. It's one of the best art styles in any of the currently running Shonen Jump manga. And also, it's a lot like Gintama where, you know, it can be funny, but then when it goes into the serious arcs, those serious arcs are insanely good. Not quite on the same level as Gintama, if you ask me, but it's still in the same ballpark. So I would place it in low S tier. If anything, I would maybe move it to high A tier, but it's definitely up there. One of the most underrated manga in Jump. How much am I wanting a big Nemu arc? Astro Royale slept on. I'm so glad you said that because that's what we're going to talk about next. But Luke, to answer your question, I am still like 20 chapters behind on Witch Watch. But if they still haven't done that, then yes, Nemu needs to be like really, really fleshed out. Because I feel like we keep getting teased that she's going to be, you know, like a major player, and it just doesn't happen. Did I like the Sket Dance crossover for Witch Watch? Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Plus, it was a nice cameo for people who have been following what's his name since his earlier days. Yeah, I love the whole lore of like the mangaka was an assistant to Gintama, and now they have Witch Watch, which is basically like a modern Gintama. Excuse me. Yeah, Josh, you basically summed up a lot of my feelings for Witch Watch. I really wish... I don't think it necessarily needs to happen now, but I do hope that by the end of the manga, the whole Keigo and Nemu thing really goes somewhere. because I feel like they have a nice dynamic. Anyway, Nancy brought it up. Astro Royale. I am going to put Astro Royale top of B tier. So I like the protagonist. I like Hibaru. I think he's a good protagonist. I think he could be even better if he's fleshed out properly. While I definitely think he's beat the allegations of he's just like a Mikey clone or he's just a Takamichi clone, I can't help feeling like he looks exactly like Takamichi, just with a different haircut. But on the flip side of that, I feel like Wakoi does a really good job of basically making a character that has all the... Excuse me, sorry about that. He has all of the best qualities of Mikey and all of the best qualities of Takamichi. He is like if you took Mikey and Takamichi and put them together, like the best of the best. That being said, he can come off as a bit generic, but it's still pretty early, and I feel like given enough time and like given like a nice, backstory, whatever, he could really stand out. I like all of the other characters. I think Astro Royale is like really in the middle for me. It's a bit early. I know it's on chapter like 44 or something like that. The story has been good. I feel like it's kind of ramping up too fast, depending on how this current arc goes. It's like in the same boat as Kyoshi for me for this reason. I feel like it kind of has gotten into the Shaman King problem, where Shaman King started really good and then it just went into a tournament arc, and then that tournament arc lasted for way too long. That being said, Shaman King, like, you didn't really get into the actual tournament until like God at least a third way into the manga, and that's a long manga. Astro Royale is only 40-ish chapters long, and it already seems like we're entering a big tournament arc, which isn't bad in itself, but I feel like they had the arc where they went to the one villain's headquarters, and like that was a big arc, and then they immediately went to the arc where they went to the research facility to get the Daybreak ore, and that was a big arc. And then they went, and now they're going to the tournament arc, and there's like no transition or like sequencing between these arcs, and I just feel like it's ramping up really, really fast, and it's gonna kind of like lose ground if it doesn't like slow down a bit. My last thought on Astro Royale is excuse me, I think the power system is good. I like how the abilities work. I like the nuance of how like you need your anchor item, and if you lose the anchor item, then you lose your ability. I think there's a lot of potential to kind of expand on that. My only issue is the actual quality of the abilities. I do think Wakoi has done good so far, but I feel like the abilities are kind of hit or miss, and generally speaking, they can be basic. Like, Hibaru's ability is actually really, really good, considering all he does is punch people. His partner, Tasaru, his ability is good, but the longer the story goes on, it's going to need to be expanded. I do like the newer character, the sister, the older sister that was a lawyer. I do like how her ability wasn't just like a time ability. It was like, oh, I shoot a scene and then the scene goes back in time. That was interesting. But besides that, I feel like some of the abilities can be kind of generic or like just too weird, I guess. So Astro Royale is good, but it's like I'm not quite sure what the future of this manga looks like. Astro as a whole just needs more time for me. It's good, but it can, and I do believe it will become much better. Yeah, it has a lot of potential, but I'm not quite sold on it yet. I do really like it, but I don't feel strongly about it just yet. I feel Ken Wakoi is still adjusting to the Weekly Shonen Jump theme. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think Astro Royale feels much more Shonen Jump than Tokyo Revengers does. I just feel like he's kind of struggling with the whole power system and like pacing issue. Anyway, Kagurabachi. I am going to put Kagurabachi in high A tier. Kagurabachi is really, really good. It's been around for, what, like 2 years now? What is it? It's on chapter 62, so a little over a year. Art is obviously really, really good. I really like the characters. It took me a second read through to really get the hype. Gasp. Yeah, Kagurabachi is an S tier. The only reason I don't place it in S tier just yet, and here's why I'm going to say this. So if you look at all of the manga I have in S tier, look at the difference. One Piece, Undead Unluck, Mission Yozakura Family, Witch Watch, and then Kagurabachi. The reason I don't put Kagurabachi in S tier, it's like right there. It's at like the tip top of A tier. I am still waiting for Kagurabachi to really like emotionally impact me. It's got great writing. I think Chihiro is an incredible protagonist so far. I guess the two things I'm looking for is, will it stay consistent after another year of running? And I really just think like it hasn't emotionally struck me yet. Emotionally struck me yet the same way I've been emotionally impacted by Undead Unluck, the same way I've been emotionally impacted by One Piece, the same way I've had like, like really exciting read-throughs of Witch Watch and also Yozakura Family. So I'm not necessarily saying something like Yozakura Family is objectively better than, or generally better than Kagurabachi. I just think it's still, it's like at the horizon of its debut. It's entering like its maturity now, and I'm really waiting for either the current arc or some big arc this year that really has me really has me loving the manga. So that's why I can't put it in S tier just yet. Has the main character in Kagurabachi nearly died yet in the series? He's come close. I don't know that he's like been borderline dead, but he's definitely had some close calls for sure. One last thing I'll say is I definitely don't think Kagurabachi is overhyped. I think it is exceeded expectations at this point. It's just personally, like, it hasn't like really left an impact on me like all of my favorites. And that's why I can't quite put it in S tier. S tier is like it's a tough call, because I feel like if you were to ask me what are the best manga in Jump right now, I feel like Kagurabachi would have to be in the top 5. But if we're doing a tier list and we're saying like S tier, I'm like, getting there. I think by 2026 it'll be S tier for sure. Anyway, let's start to wrap things up. Akane Banashi I am going to put in A tier, right below Kagurabachi. I think Akane Banashi is really, really good. It does taper off a bit slightly, roughly halfway through. But Akane Banashi... So the difference... I guess I'll say the difference between Akane Banashi and Kagurabachi is like I've had a bunch of moments in Akane Banashi where I've been like, damn, that is great writing. Like, that's so good. And like I love the dynamic between Akane and her father and her mentor and like her self-struggle. But that is the benefit of having run for over 100 chapters. Like, it's on chapter what right now? 140. It's over twice as long as Kagurabachi. So Kagurabachi just hasn't had the time to really drop like a super vulnerable arc, I guess. But Akane Banashi, the art is good. It's an incredibly unique manga. It's hilarious. It's got great character expression. And Akane is one of my all-time favorite protagonists. So if you haven't checked it out yet and you're looking for a niche comedy series, I cannot recommend Akane enough, excuse me. I would place Akane in S tier because it feels like every chapter is a slam dunk. The only reason I don't place it in S tier is I feel like it kind of has its peaks and valleys. If it weren't for Kagurabachi, I would probably place it right under Witch Watch. So that leaves us with Kiyoshi and Ichi. So Ichi, I'm going to put top of B tier. I would place it A tier, but for similar reasons for what I said for Astro Royale and Kagurabachi, it's just way too early. I love the art style. It's got amazing character expressions. The characters are awesome. I really like the power system with the magics. It's just way too early. Given how this current arc might go, I think it could easily go in A tier. And I know it's early to say, but I could even see it in like the top 5, top 3 even of Jump by the end of the year. But again, we just have to wait and see. Do I think there will be a manga the length of One Piece or even the other big 3? No, I don't really see them doing that ever again. Maybe after One Piece ends. But as it stands, I just don't think I don't think any mangaka wants to do that anymore. Gotta go. All right. Thanks, Spawn. Thanks for contributing. Pleasure to have you. Pleasure to have you in the stream. And then our last manga, and then we'll wrap things up, is Kyoshi. I am going to put Kyoshi. I'm going to put Kyoshi. So, for me, Kyoshi. Oh, so I'll put Astro Royale right below Nue's Exorcist. Not because I like Nue's Exorcist more, necessarily, but I feel like Nue's Exorcist has established itself a bit more. But for me, I feel like the dead center, besides Nue's Exorcist, the dead center of Jump right now is Ichi the Witch and Kyoshi. If you haven't read Kyoshi yet, I cannot recommend it enough. It is kind of like a typical shonen in ways. It's one of those series where, granted, it's still early, but like I kind of get the feeling that it doesn't know whether it wants to be a comedy or an action series. But I think it's pretty obvious at this point that it's going to be an action series. Excuse me one second. I recorded a video on it already, so look forward to that this month, where I recommend the manga and why I like it. But the short of it is, if I were to pitch Kyoshi, I would say it's like if One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen did a manga collaboration for Hot Topic, because it's very One Piece coded. It's an Exorcist series, and all of the characters look like they went to a Tokyo Revengers costume party. I like the power system in it a bit. Yeah, I'm not crazy about the power system just yet. I think it works. It's not particularly great, but I think it works. With Kyoshi, I kind of get the feeling that it's going to fill the spot of Black Clover, in the sense that it's going to be, by the time it fleshes out over the next year or so, it's going to be at the top of Jump, but I feel like it's going to run into the same issue of Black Clover, where it competes with all of those top series like One Piece and Kagurabachi and presumably Ichi the Witch. But I think what's going to happen is people are just going to naturally favor those other manga more, and Kyoshi will kind of just be one of those manga that like most people read and most people like, but it kind of fails to break into that top threshold. I will say I love the art style. I love the characters. I think Kyoshi is a great protagonist. He's like the opposite of Asta. Asta is a character without natural abilities, but he's super confident. Kyoshi is a super talented character, but he's very shy. He's not confident in himself, and he's hilariously nervous. And it leads to great character dynamics. I also really like the mentor. He's starting my new favorite trend in manga of anime mentors that look like they run tattoo shops and work part-time at Hot Topic, but are actually the most chill character in the series. He is starting that trend alongside Engine from Gachi Akuta. So if you like Engine from Gachi Akuta, there's a good chance you'll like, his name is Sakaki. You'll probably like Sakaki. And then it's also got my low-key favorite character, Akari. I really, really, really like Akari because she avoids the trope of like, okay, we have the girl character who now her whole identity is going to be being just as strong as the boys. Akari is less skilled than the other characters, but she doesn't make her whole identity. She's a fun character. She's silly. She teases Kiyoshi. She has like that sister dynamic with the other female character. There's potential for an interesting dynamic with her brother, who's in like that one cross-skilled group or whatever. I know that's a One Piece thing, but just bear with me. But yeah, Kiyoshi is really, really good. I'm kind of just waiting for it to see what it's like when it has like a big arc and when it has that like wow factor. But the fights are really good so far, considering it's still early. I'm just waiting for like a big arc for that manga. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this tier list. I feel like we made it pretty balanced. If I had read Sidcraft, Himiten, and Hakutaku, I would probably place them in some mix of like B tier and C tier. But I feel like this is a pretty fair tier list. Let me know what you guys think. At me on Twitter. I'll post a picture of this on Twitter. I'll post it on YouTube. Let me know what you guys think. I have a couple videos in line with what we talked about today planned for this month. So look out for a community post tomorrow. Look out for channel memberships dropping this week. I would like to get them started tomorrow, but I can't make any promises. But those will be coming out early this month. There'll be 3 tiers available to start. And then as we grow the channel, I'll add 2 more tiers with more benefits. We got Justin with a $10 donation starting or ending the year on a high note. Justin, thank you so much for the donation. Have a happy new year, Ouji. 2025 going to be a great year. We got Chainsaw Man movie. So looking forward to that. Dr. Stone returning. Super excited for that. Fire Force. Oh my God. Banger after banger after banger. Fire Force is going to be crazy. Dawn to Dawn is going to be great this summer. Presumably Bleach should be coming out this summer. Blue Box is S tier. Ooh. For all the money in the world, I will not say Blue Box is S tier, even though I just did. But thank you, Justin. You just made my day. All of you guys made my day. This was a great stream. We had a great turnout. A ton of great discussions. We might have to do more tier lists like this if you guys obviously enjoy these so much. But yeah, great stream, everybody. Look out for channel memberships tomorrow. There'll be 3 tiers that you can sign up for. Well, I should reiterate, they might not necessarily be available tomorrow, but they're going to be available ASAP this month. But yeah, thanks everybody. Had a great discussion. Happy New Year. Be safe, but make sure to celebrate the new year. Even if you're by yourself, have a nice drink, smoke you a little something, play a video game, watch a movie, treat yourself. And I'll see all of you beautiful people in the new year. Peace.